Hey, what's up, everybody? Matthew, my real life TV 505, back here with another episode for you. And if you don't know, now you know. Matthew, my real life TV 505. I want to sit here and give a big shout out. Thank you to all my subscribers, followers, supporters, the fan base that I've developed. Big, huge shout out to each and every single one of you. I wish I could call you each all out by name, but there's just so many of you to remember. But definitely everyone from all my interviews, from Phil to Jacques to Simon, to Colin to Stu, um, up to Mark, and my PIC Natasha with all the things that she's contributed. People who in the background who have helped me and behind the scenes helped me meet other people and people that I've met behind the scenes. A big shout out and thank you. Big shout out to Garth Wilson. Thank you for everything that you do, man. Thank you for meeting with me and interacting with me, collaborating with me, and allowing me to be a part of what you got going on and bringing you into what I have going on. And thanks for what you do for the community, Garth. You're a good guy. Definitely want to say thank you to the fan base I developed on YouTube. Big shout out to Lenny Boy, always the first one out there to shout out to me. Big shout out to him. Thank you for all your support, man. It really motivates me, keeps me going. So a lot of you, you're pretty much all local medical cannabis patients. So you know that today is January the 16th, and down at the Capitol they had a big thing on some laws going on down there. Unfortunately, I was unable to make that. For some personal reasons. However, to those who did make it down there, thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for putting in your input. Thank you for sharing your story down at the Capitol. It really means a lot. So I'm not too sure what the results of that were or are. I'll be doing some research on that later. But that does lead into the topic that I want to talk about today, and that is the cannabis laws basically turning medical cannabis patients into, kind of forcing us into being criminals in a way. Let me describe and explain that to you. As I explain that, I'm going to be smoking on some Ishtar that I picked over at Southwest Wellness, of course. Great pre-rolls down there. They pack them, stuff them just right. They smell delicious, taste great. Shout out to Southwest Wellness. Thank you for your medication. So, of course, I'm going to sit here and medicate with y'all. Please join in medicating with me. Big shout out to the skunk bag you see in the background there. It's now a necessity for me in my life. I carry my medication around in it. It's smell free. It's waterproof. So it's snowing out today, and it didn't make any kind of messes. Easy to clean, easy to wipe, and then had it all locked up. Brought it home, lock it up. Medication is safe. So shout out to skunk bags. Thank you for the gift. It's already coming into great use. So let's talk about a little bit about these cannabis laws making patients like myself basically into criminals. So here's what I mean by that. There's so many different ways that we can talk about this. There's so many different topics that you could hit on this. I mean, there's just so many different things. There's loops and ties and twists and bends to all these laws, and we live in a land of the free. Yet we have the most people locked up. We have the highest amount of laws. I get laws. I understand why they're there, but at the same time, there's some laws that just don't make no sense. So here's one of the things I want to talk about. As a medical cannabis patient, when you get your medical cannabis card, you get a limit of units. Now that limit is usually, I think it's like a little. What was it? Oh shit! I'm a burnt moment right now. I'm trying to remember. It's enough for you to pick up. It's enough for you to basically carry up to 8 ounces. 8 ounces of cannabis. So I forgot the exact amount of units. I have to go back and research it. I think it's 200 and some units, like 280 units or something like that, or maybe even more. I can't exactly remember. But all I know is that you get a certain amount of units on this cannabis program. And please, if you do know the amount of units, please feel free to correct me. Don't be belittling. Don't be demeaning. Don't be undermining. Just leave a comment and say, hey, bro, units are such and such. So, anyways, like I said, you get a certain amount of set units. You get these units for a 90-day period. Every 90 days, your units recycle. So let's say today I went in and I used 15 units. Well, those 15 units that I used today, I won't be able to use again for another 90 days from today. Those 15 units will reappear. Well, that's basically how it's been explained to me. And what sucks though is when a patient like me with such a high amount of chronic pain and fatigue, and PTSD. So trying to get PTSD, your mind under control, trying to get your pain under control, can sometimes use a lot of units. So let's say for me, I have such a high amount of pain that they want me taking oxycodone at least 3 times a day, along with muscle relaxers, along with Tylenols, along with ibuprofens, along with gabapentins, and then they have to throw a stool softener in there because all that shit hardens your intestines up. So I do a high amount of cannabis in order to control my pain and to keep my mind at ease. So if you run out of those units, those set amount of units, things like 280 units, something like, okay, so you get a certain amount of units. So what happens when you run out of all those units? So what happens when you run out of those units, you go back in, they're like, dude, you don't got enough units, you can't purchase your medication. So what are you supposed to do when you can't medicate? It kind of forces you to go somewhere else. And that somewhere else is a place that may not be appropriate. Or you don't necessarily get it in the same kind of atmosphere per se, atmosphere. Basically, y'all know what I'm getting at. You know what I'm saying. What happens when you run out of these units? Then you can no longer control your pain. And then it forces you to have to look elsewhere. Or it forces you to go back onto your prescription medications, which are going to make you sick, are going to make you have crazy side effects. They're going to make you go through withdrawal effects when you do get your units back, to do get off of these pills or whatever it is that you need to take to control yourself. So that's one of those things that I don't like. I don't like the unit deal. When they go recreational, yes, I want more laws to push to where personal production people can help produce more medicine for patients. Because once it goes recreational or adult, there's going to be such a high demand for it. Is there going to be enough for patients? And that's another concern. So we do need more plants. We do need more flower. We do need more production. We do need more people to have a personal production. We need more flower. And we need more medication. And it's better than going out and getting on some pill. You want to talk about your magic medication to make you feel better? Well, this is it. Stop being afraid of it. Stop judging it. Stop worrying about what can happen to you. Nothing's going to happen to you. What can happen to you on prescription medications, you could OD. What happens if you don't have enough units and you have to go out and get your medication, you could go to jail. So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to some of these cannabis laws. Another thing that bothers me is that you're a cannabis patient, you choose to medicate with cannabis, but yet the court system in a way can still see it as and use it against you in parenting. So if you're going through a custodial battle with your ex about your children, and they want to say, oh, because you smoke cannabis that you shouldn't be around kids and you can't do this around kids. Well, we got these skunk bags to lock them up, right? And another thing is there's no different than somebody leaving their prescription pills out. You're supposed to lock it up. You're saying, okay, well, you can't be medicating around your children, this and that. That's fine. I understand that. I get that. You shouldn't be medicating around your children. However, when you do need to step away to medicate and everything, medicate responsibly, and you come back in, you should not be getting judged for that. Because there are people out there who are medicating with psychotic medications, prescription pain medications, and then on top of it, they're throwing alcohol in the mix. And they're trying to make themselves feel better. And they're showing that to their children. Now, is that okay? No, I don't think so. So I think that when it comes to New Mexico medical cannabis laws, changing the units is one of the big things. Because how is a patient who has a high amount of chronic pain or high amount of mental issues, and this medication is what keeps them balanced, and you're robbing them of that, and you're forcing them to do other things, which is not right. Another thing that I don't agree with is kind of like with the gun laws. I am a big time supporter of the Second Amendment. I know a lot of people would be against that, but I'm not. I support it. And the reason being that I support it is because I feel every single person, not just American citizen, every person in this world has a right to protect themselves, protect their families against anything foreign, domestic, at all. You don't have to fear your neighbor. I'm not telling you to fear your neighbor. I'm telling you it's better to have one and not need it than need it and not have it. So don't be a victim. I don't want to be a victim. But being that I'm a cannabis patient, I can't even go into a gun store and look at a firearm because I'm a cannabis patient. Now, I know some people that don't disclose certain information and they're able to bypass that, go through these loopholes or whatever. But isn't that still breaking the law? Isn't that still making us criminals? Why should I be a criminal because I choose to use medical cannabis to treat myself? Why should I be a victim because I use medical cannabis to treat myself? It's total bullshit, and you know it. You got to listen to it. And those of you who are making these laws, I'm trying to be as nice and polite and professional as I can, but I'm trying to also get this through to you to get you to understand. And the thing about I'm trying to get you to understand is that I have every right to protect myself, just like you have every right to protect yourself. Whether you use prescription medications to treat your whatever your troubles may be, just because you choose to use prescription medications, that doesn't make you better than me. It doesn't make your life more valuable than mine. It doesn't make it right for you to be able to bear a firearm to protect yourself and not me. Because I could go into somewhere and it says, don't bring in a firearm. And I'm not going to bring in a firearm. But you think that's going to stop a criminal from bringing in a firearm? No, never has, never will. So let's think logically here, and not just think with our paychecks and with our pockets and with our tax dollars shit. No, let's think with our minds. And thinking with my mind is that we need to find a way to make it okay for a cannabis patient to go ahead and purchase a firearm to protect their family and home, which it says in our fucking Constitution. That doesn't say about being a cannabis patient, but it says you as an American have the right to do that. And so I choose to smoke cannabis. I'm treating myself. I'm not hurting nobody. I haven't murdered nobody. I haven't done nothing wrong. I'm chilling at home, medicating, putting myself in the place that I need to be to feel better in order to go about my day, go about my night, ease away my aches and pains, ease away my mind. So those are some of the things that I have to mention tonight about medical cannabis and some of the laws that we have turning us into criminals or forcing us to be criminals. Now, I'm not telling you have to be a criminal. I'm not telling you that just because you're around at a unit, you need to go find it somewhere elsewhere. No, I'm telling you that this happens. This is what can happen. This is what can happen. And another thing that you got to remember, if you legalize cannabis, you get it, the more you get it off the street. I don't know if a lot of you have noticed this, but, like a lot of things, a lot of these places, like they don't hang out on the streets. Like a lot of like I can't explain it. Weed dealers, they ain't hanging around out on the streets anymore. They ain't hanging out at your corner block or your corner store. They ain't hanging out at your gas station. They ain't running around the street trying to hustle weed. They're going legit. They're going legit into medicine because they realize that this isn't just some little thing to go and get you high. This is a medication, and it's a serious thing. And so you need this, and so they're turning it into dispensaries. So, they're going to the dispensaries, they're getting off the block, and they're going legit. So they're abiding by the laws, So why, like patients like me, we want to abide by those laws as well. We want to abide by those laws because we don't want to get in trouble. We have families, a lot of us have jobs. We're normal just like anybody else, just like your next door neighbor. We're just like anybody else. We got families, we got jobs, we got homes, we got dogs, we got all these responsibilities just like everybody else does. And we have the right to protect ourselves. We have the right to be able to medicate ourselves with as much cannabis as we need. They say about this personal production license things. Yeah, that's great. I think, that's great. I think we should just all be allowed to grow and smoke cannabis legally. Anyway, I should be able to grow this in my backyard so I don't have to worry about a demand. So that way I can make my own butter, press my own rosin, whatever it is. But I'm just letting y'all listen up, hear me out. Just try and rap to y'all about some of these laws out here that kind of make us innocent patients look like criminals. So that's going to be it for me tonight. I got kind of stoned. I kind of got into a tangent there. I hope what I say makes sense. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to the point that I'm trying to get across. And the main point is that just because you choose to medicate with cannabis, that doesn't make you a criminal. The laws that are set in place for you to be a patient, that forces people to be criminals. I think that's criminal in itself. to rob somebody of the right to medicate themselves safely, responsibly, and not damage their bodies. So that's it for me tonight. Matthew, my real life TV 505. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody who's been there for me to support me along the way. Got a lot more for you in store to come. Stay tuned and look forward to the future. All right? Peace.